I looking back, it's obvious that some of the worst things are some of the best things. Obviously, a horrible experience for you at ESPN, but on some level, aren't you glad you're gone?
Oh, um, glad and glad I'm gone. They're kind of two different things. I mean, at the end of the day, yes. Um, I'm still heartbroken that it happened the way it did because it
Yes.
didn't have to.
Yes.
And I loved what I did, and it took me years to get there, and it was super hard to stay there.
Yeah.
Not the most welcoming, nurturing place
I
where
believe
you're
that.
being uplifted and encouraged, and just even given constructive criticism to continue to get better.
Right.
But I did it, damn it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad because I can finally speak without being in fear,
Yeah.
knowing again that like it's a lot bigger than me. I thought through the years I was just following my dream, and then along the way, I had young women reaching out and saying, "Oh my gosh." Back in the day, my bosses said you have to straighten your hair and you can't look. That's not what anchors on TV look like, especially national TV. And so I have young girls saying, "You're the first woman I saw that just owned your hair and didn't straighten and have the anchor bob and all that." And
Yeah.
so I I just was talking about sports, like naive, but I didn't realize that I was being an example
Right.
for other young women out there, and Black women, and just the diversity part. And so then when I realized that, what an honor, So I'm sad that I don't have that platform to continue to do that, but I did it for almost 17 years.
Yeah.
And now I'm excited at the potential of doing it. I mean, look, I get to talk to Tucker Carlson, where other people who have no idea who I am will see me, and forget about this stuff. I'm just saying about being true to who we are, and
100%.
standing up for what we believe in.
And not lying. No, I
I
totally
did have to
agree.
lie. I had to lie a lot
Yeah.
about things that I didn't agree with that we were doing on the air.
Like, tell me.
Well, to not be able to ask specific questions about, when we had athletes all of a sudden collapse. LeBron's son,
He's a young man.
healthiest possible.
Exactly.
That's one example, but to not be able to go there and ask
They
those questions.
wouldn't let you ask.
Oh no, and it wasn't just me. It was other pieces that were done on Outside the Lines about it. But to me, I don't care if you're LeBron's son or if you're my neighbor. Like, you're a young man in particular, because there's some science behind that. I know we don't like the science word now, but there's some
right.
science behind that, right? And so if an 18-year-old kid is suddenly collapsing,
Especially a boy. That's right.
yeah, if I'm his mother, I'm asking, okay, did he collapse because it was raining today versus sunny? Like, any potential reason for
Of
this
course,
sudden
all the
collapse,
variables.
you're going to ask as a journalist. When you look at the decisions Disney has made for many years, despite it really affecting their bottom line, right? They've continued. Recently, Bob Iger came out, I think, in that SEC filing, acknowledging that they went too woke in many areas. And look at what's happened with the what used to be incredible content that Disney used to put out,
Yes.
and look what's happened, and look at the numbers and the
Well, look at
losses.
ESPN and the numbers there. I mean, that's part of my question. Do you think you got out in retrospect at the right time?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you think ESPN will be a force in sports news in 10 years?
I think, well, it all goes back to the rights deals.
Yeah.
And because I hear all the time on social media that the only reason that they watch ESPN is because, the
They've
College
got the
Football National
games.
Championship,
Yeah.
they have the games, they have the live broadcasts, and the ESPN knows that, which is why they've tried to create other revenue streams and, digital, and, the ESPN Plus, which hasn't done great. Disney Plus has not done great.
Yeah.
And so people feel it. Again, people don't come to ESPN to talk politics. But hey, it's not just ESPN. The leagues have done it. Look at what the NBA has done, and kind of shoving it down your throats. And then on the courts, it says Black Lives Matter. Still in some places. And it's like, wait, are we not paying attention to what we now know factually about Black Lives Matter? So I'm just never surprised anymore. My point is, just because I'm not surprised doesn't mean I give up. We give up. Those of us who aren't afraid anymore. If we give up, I feel like we're complicit.
Did any, that's for certain. You're exactly right there, I think. Did any other anchors express empathy, offline, privately?
There were a few. There were definitely a few, and anchors or reporters or analysts for sure. There's a lot of people who feel the way I feel about many things. A lot of men who work there, who are on air, who wrote and said, I don't know that it's courage, but they said, I wish I had the courage that you have.
Oh, that's so embarrassing. I mean, come on. Come on. Get some dignity, right? I mean,
I agree. Grow a pair.
yeah.
You know? And at the same time, I do try to put myself in their shoes.
No, I get it.
As white men,
yeah, no, I get it.
when you don't have endless money and you have a family to support, white men are not allowed to have a voice in that part of the industry. And so I understand the fear, but I also see Black men and people who are allowed to say whatever they want quite often on social media at ESPN, who have daughters who are athletes, who are silent. And I know damn well that they're not letting a guy, a biological male, play against their daughter on the volleyball court.
Of course not.
But they're silent. And so
why?
I think that, well, I think it just goes back to the woke.
But I mean, if like Michael Wilbon, or whatever, someone who's,
Whom I love.
yeah, I'm
But
not
we are
against Wilbon.
we think completely differently on everything. But
Then Wilbon's views may be totally sincere. But like if someone who's established and made some dough, you can say whatever you want. Why don't they?
I think it's this kind of what I dealt with as a young woman and middle-aged woman for years. It's that fear of being disliked and attacked.
Yeah.
So these big, strong, tough football players,
Yeah.
and NBA players who have millions of dollars in the bank, who are now analysts, especially in the African-American community. Like, I know for the most part with this topic of transgender, this in sports issue, we're on the same page.
They're not into it at all.
Hell no.
Yeah.
But they're silent. And to me, that's the worst thing, is when they know, and they can't afford to speak up. Again, it's never against the transgender community. It's in support of women. And if we focus on that. So I actually have lost a ton of respect for a lot of those people because they just go like this. But then when there's other issues that do go along with the narrative, then it's let's go and let's pound the table and pound the fist and that's the
three or four of those guys just decided, we're not going to lie anymore and just say what they thought. You can't fire them all.
You can't. That's why I said as at least as women, like, let's come together and do this because they need us. And we're right.
How long has it been since you left ESPN?
August 14th, 2023.
August 12th.
So,
oh, wow. Oh, just the other day.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's weird because it becomes kind of part of your identity, right?
Oh, of course.
I should ask you for advice because it's even if you know it's the right thing, it's still almost traumatic because, especially if you loved it,
yeah.
But I will say this, I haven't missed it.
Right.
Which is weird. I thought that I would. I haven't watched any of it. I watched some games, but I don't watch it because I don't think I realized just the grind of 28 years in the industry in general, But I
did 28 years in the industry. I know that number. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
A lot. And it's every ounce of it, ups and downs. It was such an honor. And who knows what's next as far as like, the next chapter, long term, hopefully, round 2. But I don't know. I really feel like I was there for a reason, probably a reason that I'm not even fully clear on.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. The internet is crowded with interesting things that don't really matter. On TCN, we attempt to bring you interesting things that actually do matter, and a lot of them. Interviews, long form and short, videos, documentaries. You can find all of it on tuckercarlson.com, and we hope you will.